Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy the content, hit that subscribe button right now, seriously. Do it before you even keep watching, because today's episode has one of the boldest predictions I have ever made on this channel, and I want you here for it when it either comes true or blows up spectacularly in my face. And while you're at it, smash that like button too. It takes 2 seconds and it tells me you want more of this. Because folks, training camp is officially in the books for the Denver Broncos, and their franchise quarterback decided to save the absolute best for last. I am talking about the single best practice performance of his entire training camp on the very last day. Right before this team heads into Friday night's showdown with the Green Bay Packers at home. So grab a seat because we are diving deep into Bo Nix. We are making an official, on-the-record season prediction that I am putting a timestamp on right now, and we are also giving some well-deserved flowers to two defensive players who I genuinely believe are about to become household names in Denver. Let's get into it. Let's talk about Bo Nix, because it has been a minute since we really sat down and broke him down on this channel. And honestly, that is mostly because his preseason usage has been exactly what you would expect for a guy entering year 3 as the unquestioned guy. A series here, a handful of throws there, a couple of encouraging flashes, but mostly just carefully managed reps as the coaching staff ramps him up the right way. That all changes this Friday, though, because it looks like we are finally going to see Bo Nix out there in full capacity against Green Bay. But here is what made today different. Today was electric. According to reporting from inside camp, Bo started the day white hot, and I mean immediately. He connected with the Broncos' big offseason wide receiver addition on a 60-yard touchdown bomb. 60 yards in practice. And I need you to understand why that particular connection matters so much. Because it happened against the Broncos' own shutdown cornerback, arguably the best cover corner in the entire National Football League. Nobody beats this guy in one-on-ones. Nobody cooks him. He is about as close to a perfect football player as this league has. And yet, on this particular rep, Bo Nix and his new star receiver connected for a deep touchdown right over the top of him. Now look, is he a perfect, unbeatable robot who never allows a single completion in his career? No, he's a human being, an incredible one, but still human. But this was the moment I had genuinely been waiting all camp long to see, real, tangible, visible proof of what this new receiver trade is going to mean for this offense. We have talked about the potential all camp. We have talked about the fit. But this was the first time we actually saw it explode onto the field in dramatic fashion, even if it was just a practice rep. And it will not be the last time we see it either. That connection is going to torch defenses all season long. Book it. Bo also connected with his tight end on back-to-back plays for 25 and 15 yards, showing off that quick rhythm and trust that has clearly carried over from last season. So here is where I want to plant my flag for the entire 2026 season right now on record. Dated so I can come back to this exact moment later and either take a victory lap or eat my words. Bo Nix is going to finish as the runner-up for MVP this season. I know. Before you get mad, hear me out, because this is not me doubting him. This is almost the opposite. I think the voters are going to do to Bo Nix exactly what they did to Drake May last season up in New England. Some other quarterback is going to have a monster narrative-friendly year, and the media is going to find some reason, any reason, to hand the trophy to someone else. I can already picture the hot takes on national television explaining it away. But here is the difference between Bo Nix and Drake May. Drake May did not get to the Super Bowl. Bo Nix is going to get there, and when he does, he is going to win the whole thing. Bo Nix is your daddy, Broncos Country. Write it down. So drop a comment down below and let me know. Boo me if you want to, disagree with me if you want to. That is half the fun. But tell me where you honestly think Bo Nix finishes in this year's MVP race. So what have we actually seen from Bo heading into year 3? Let's start with the health check, because I know a lot of you have been anxious about his ankle. I want to put that to rest right now. That specific injury was never something I personally lost sleep over, and from everything we are seeing at the tail end of camp, he looks fully, completely back to 100%. On top of that, he already has real chemistry established with his new star wide receiver. That connection started building the moment the trade was finalized and they hit the practice field together for the first time, and it has clearly only grown from there. And then there is the mental side of the game. The pre-snap command, the audibles, the full ownership of Sean Payton's notoriously complex offensive system. You can see it in year 3. Bo looks more comfortable, more in control, more like a guy running the show instead of just executing it. Part of that comes down to communication too. Bo has confirmed the voice he is hearing in his helmet on game day is going to be the same trusted voice from last season. Someone he built a genuine day-to-day working relationship with throughout the entire year, someone directly responsible for smoothing out some of the rough patches Bo showed early last season. That continuity matters more than people realize. And then his tight end said something today that honestly caught me off guard. I did not expect a teammate to get almost poetic when asked about Bo Nix, but here is basically what he said, that it's hard to even put into words the kind of energy Bo brings to this team, the aura he carries onto that practice field, and how excited the entire locker room is to see him back out there leading the way. I want to sit on that for a second because I am going to get a little sentimental here myself. Bo Nix is the heart and soul of this football team. You can say that about plenty of starting quarterbacks around the league, sure, but Bo Nix brings something to Denver that this franchise has not genuinely had since Peyton Manning walked off that field. A true leader. Someone the entire locker room rallies around unconditionally. This franchise has cycled through a lot of names at that position looking for exactly that. Guys who had their brief moment in the sun and then faded, but none of them were ever the long-term answer. Bo Nix is different. Bo Nix is the present and the future of the Denver Broncos, and he is going to be for a very long time. All right, before I get into the actual statistical projections for Bo this season, because trust me, I have got real numbers coming your way, I have got to shout out the folks who make this show possible, our friends over at Prize Picks. My computer decided to glitch out on me for a second there, but we are back and better than ever, and I promise you this segment is worth the wait. Listen, if I am winning up to 2,000 times my money this football season, it is happening on Prize Picks. Right now, if you download the app and sign up using code MA, that's HMA, and play your very first $5 lineup, you get $150 in bonus lineups the moment that lineup hits. That is essentially free money on the table, and there is no reason you should be leaving it there. Now, for my own personal lineup, I want to be transparent with you. One of my picks already came through by the time I am recording this, but here is exactly what I rode with. I took the hottest hitter in all of baseball right now, and I mean the man is hitting home runs at an absolutely absurd rate. So naturally, I went with the more on his home run total, and I actually doubled down and took that same bet twice. Then I paired it with one of the most dominant strikeout pitchers in the entire league right now, taking the more on his strikeout total as well. That is exactly how you build a lineup. Find the players who are running hot and ride the wave. So go be like Uncle Moose, download the Prize Picks app, sign up with code MA, play your first $5 lineup, and if it hits, you are walking away with $150 in bonus lineups. It is brand new. They are just rolling this promotion out right now, so get in on it early. Everything is linked down in the comments and description of this video. Prize Picks, baby. It is good to be right. Okay, now let's talk real numbers on Bo Nix, because the statistical case here is honestly stronger than most casual fans probably realize. Last season, Bo Nix posted the lowest sack rate in the entire league. Now, plenty of people are going to tell you that is purely a product of Denver having a dominant offensive line in front of him, and sure, that is a real part of the equation. But do not sleep on Bo Nix's own individual escapability here. His pocket awareness, his ability to get the ball out on time, his legs when he needs to use them. That sack rate is not just an offensive line stat, that is a legitimate quarterback skill on full display. And here is a number that should honestly stop you in your tracks. Looking at total offense generated, that is passing yards minus sack yardage plus rushing yardage, combined with team wins across a quarterback's first 2 seasons in the league, Bo Nix currently sits at number 1 in NFL history. Ahead of Dan Marino, ahead of Andrew Luck, ahead of Russell Wilson, ahead of Dak Prescott, ahead of Lamar Jackson. Let that sink in for a second. Bo Nix, in just his first 2 years in this league, has been more productive by that measure than every single one of those legendary names. And on top of that, he is tied with Russell Wilson for the most wins by any quarterback across their first 2 NFL seasons. That is not a good start to a career. That is one of the best starts in the history of this league. I genuinely do not think we have scratched the surface yet of what this young man is going to become. His rookie year, he showed you the flashes, the pure talent, the arm talent and mobility that made this front office trade up for him in the first place. Year 2, the raw numbers actually took a slight step back, but what we saw instead was leadership. Was a guy who could put an entire team on his back and drag them across the finish line game after game after game, the clutch gene fully on display. Now for year 3, we take that flash of talent from year 1, we combine it with the clutch, gritty leadership from year 2, and we drop him into an even more dynamic, more talented, more complete team around him. That is the recipe for what I believe you are about to see in 2026. Here is my official statistical projection for Bo Nix this season, and I want you to remember this number too. 66.2% completion percentage. 4,134 passing yards, which works out to roughly 243 yards per game across a full 17-game season. 35 passing touchdowns against just 7 interceptions. Folks, that is an elite top-of-the-league statistical season. That is why I believe it is good enough for a runner-up MVP finish, and honestly, if I am telling you he finishes runner-up, that also means I believe deep down he is genuinely playing at an MVP level. The voters are just going to find some other storyline to hand it to instead. But you know what? I do not need the individual hardware for Bo Nix this year. I need that Lombardi trophy raised up in Denver. He will collect his MVP trophy eventually on his own timeline. This year, though, my official call is runner-up. Drop your own prediction down in the comments section. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's video. I want to see where you all think Bo Nix finishes in this year's race. Now let's shift gears, because we have spent a good chunk of this video on our quarterback, and rightfully so, but there are 2 defensive players who absolutely deserve some flowers today, and I refuse to let this video end without talking about them. First up, keep your eye on this young pass rusher who has been quietly turning into an absolute problem for opposing offenses. The man is really, really good. Today alone, he came away with a pick 6 off a tipped pass from Jarrett Stidham in practice. Him and Jonah Ellis are quickly becoming the future face of this defensive front, and I mean that. On literally any other roster in this entire league, both of these guys would be starting edge rushers. Full stop. That includes teams like the Houston Texans. That includes the Seattle Seahawks. These are legitimately unbelievable young players. Let's dig into that game tape a little bit because the preseason numbers back up the eye test completely. Against Atlanta in preseason week 1, this young pass rusher played 28 total snaps, recorded only 2 total pressures on paper, but both of those pressures came with actual quarterback hits attached, and he walked away from that game with an 87.3 PFF grade. I went back and actually rewatched that tape myself, and even though the box score does not show a sack, his presence on that field was undeniable. I found the exact rep that proves it, a straight one-on-one bull rush against the Falcons' rookie left tackle, and he absolutely bullied him. Drove him back, collapsed the pocket entirely, forced a quarterback hit and an incomplete pass on that exact play. That is not a lucky rep. That is legitimate NFL caliber pass rushing. My projection for him this year sits at 31 total tackles, 6 tackles for loss, 5.5 sacks, and 14 quarterback hits. Compare that to just 12 total tackles a year ago, and you can see the leap coming. Now, a lot of that snap count is going to hinge on the health status of another veteran pass rusher on this roster, whose availability remains genuinely uncertain heading into the season. He could play all 17 games, he could play 11, he could play 14. Nobody truly knows yet. So I am staying a little conservative with that projection until we get more clarity there. I cannot say the same cautious approach applies to Jonah Elliss, though, because regardless of how that veteran snap count shakes out, I fully expect Jonah Elliss to see a massive uptick in playing time this season, no matter what. He has been one of the standout winners of this entire training camp, arguably tied for the single best defensive performer in camp alongside Riley Moss. Against the Falcons, Jonah Elliss was flat out unbelievable. 5 total pressures, 5 hurries, 1 tipped pass, and 2 run stops across just 20 total snaps. That was actually the second most total pressures generated by any single player across the entire NFL in preseason week 1, and he did it while playing barely half the snaps of the players directly behind him on that leaderboard. His PFF grades from that game speak for themselves, too. A 91.3 overall grade, a 90.1 pass rushing grade, and a 74.8 run defense grade. Folks, that is a star in the making right in front of our eyes. My projection for Jonah Elliss this season, 42 total tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 7 sacks, and 22 quarterback hits. Playing somewhere around 50% of the defensive snaps, with the coaching staff likely rotating him heavily throughout games to keep him fresh and disruptive. And here is my other bold prediction for today. This defense is going to be better in 2026 than it was a season ago. Not necessarily in total sack numbers, I actually think that number dips slightly, somewhere in the 61 to 62 range compared to last year's total, but across the board, better against the run, a better secondary, a more complete unit from front to back. I believe this becomes the number 1 ranked defense in the entire National Football League this season, across the board, and I will die on that hill, Broncos Country. So that is where we stand heading into Friday night. A quarterback who just had the best practice of his entire camp on the final day, a bold MVP and Super Bowl prediction now officially on the record, and 2 young defensive stars who are about to make an entire fan base very, very happy this season. This team is loaded, this team is dangerous, and honestly, I do not think casual fans around the league have any idea what is coming. Before you go, I need you to do one thing for me. This channel is chasing 1,000 subscribers, and every single one of you watching right now can help make that happen. If this video kept you entertained, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop your MVP prediction and your thoughts on Bo Nix down in the comments below. I read every single one. And remember, once we cross that 1,000 subscriber mark, we are giving away a real Broncos jersey to 1 lucky subscriber, so the sooner we get there together, the sooner somebody watching this video right now could be wearing that jersey. Subscribe, like, comment, and let's run it up together. Until next time, Broncos Country, this has been Uncle Moose, and I will see you in the next one.